There comes a point in every person's life when the world tries to convince them to shrink, to settle, to be reasonable, to stop dreaming beyond the limits that others have silently accepted. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to wear those limits like chains, invisible but heavy, dragging you down into a life that's far smaller than the one you were created to live. But I'm here to tell you the truth: every great thing that has ever existed began in the mind of someone who refused to think small. Thomas Edison was told electricity could never light a city. Henry Ford was mocked for believing the average man could own a car. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because they said he lacked imagination. And yet, the world remembers their names, not the names of those who laughed at them. Because the moment you decide to think bigger than everyone around you, you begin to separate yourself from the crowd. You stop living life as a passenger and start steering the course of history. Thinking big isn't about arrogance. It's about refusing to accept the script you were handed. It's about looking at the horizon and daring to believe that you can go beyond it, that your life can be more than routine, more than survival, more than mediocrity dressed up as comfort. Thinking big is about declaring, "I will not let my environment define my destiny." Look around. Most people live according to the size of their surroundings. They mirror the fears of their parents, the doubts of their peers, the limitations of their culture. They repeat what they see instead of creating what they desire. And in doing so, they betray their potential. You must rise above that. You must understand that the people around you are not your ceiling, they are your starting point. Their opinions are not your boundaries, they are the echoes of their own limitations. And their disbelief is not a reflection of your capability, it is a projection of their own fear. Every person who has ever changed the world had to first confront the small thinking of their environment. They were told they were crazy, unrealistic, foolish. And that's exactly how you'll know you're on the right path, because the path of greatness is always paved with resistance. The truth is, thinking small is easy. It's safe. It's socially acceptable. Nobody will ever criticize you for being average. Nobody will laugh at you for having ordinary goals. But the moment you raise your head above the crowd, the moment you speak dreams too big for their vocabulary, you'll feel the weight of their skepticism. And in that moment, you have a choice: shrink back into comfort or stand taller in conviction. Here's the secret most people never learn: the size of your thinking determines the size of your results. Your mind is a blueprint for your life, and if you design it small, your reality will follow. If you allow yourself to believe only in what's easy, you'll never attempt what's extraordinary. If you accept that good enough is enough, you'll never touch greatness. The people who achieve the impossible are not born with more talent, they're driven by a bigger vision. They're willing to look ridiculous for believing in something no one else can see. They're willing to endure failure after failure because their dream is bigger than their discomfort. And while others play it safe, they are building empires in silence. But let me make this clear: thinking big is not just about money or success. It's about becoming the fullest version of yourself. It's about refusing to die with your potential still inside you. It's about creating a life so rich, so meaningful, so impactful that when people speak your name, they speak of someone who lived with purpose and courage. To think bigger, you must first unlearn the lies that have been planted in your mind. Lies like, "Be realistic." Lies like, "Stay in your lane." Lies like, "People like you don't achieve things like that." Those are not truths, they are cages. And the moment you accept them, you lock yourself inside a life that is far less than what you're capable of living. History does not remember the realistic. It remembers the relentless. It remembers the dreamers, the builders, the thinkers who refused to believe that the world was fixed and final. And right now, you are being invited to join them, not by circumstance, but by choice. This is the crossroads. Stay small, and you will live a life that is predictable, comfortable, and quickly forgotten. Think big, and you will live a life that shakes the earth beneath your feet. And it all begins in the same place, your mind. That is the battlefield. That is where empires rise and fall. That is where destiny is decided long before the results ever appear. Vision is the spark. Belief is the fuel. But without action, they are nothing more than beautiful lies we tell ourselves to feel good about doing nothing. The world is overflowing with people who believe and visualize and hope, but few who act, and that is why few ever rise above mediocrity. Thinking big means nothing if you do not back it with relentless execution. Dreaming is the starting line, not the finish line. The finish line belongs to the doers, the ones who wake up when the world sleeps, the ones who take the first step before they see the whole staircase, the ones who show up every day even when they don't feel like it. Because here's the truth, discipline will take you where motivation cannot. Motivation is a mood, it's there one moment and gone the next. Discipline is a decision. It's the steel in your spine that refuses to bend, even when the journey becomes brutal. And it will become brutal. Every dream worth chasing will test you. It will demand sacrifices. It will require you to give up comfort, to endure boredom, to walk alone while others laugh. But discipline turns pain into progress. It transforms chaos into momentum. It takes those tiny daily actions, the ones that feel insignificant, and stacks them into an unstoppable force. Ask anyone who has built something legendary, and they'll tell you the truth, it wasn't one big breakthrough that changed their life. It was thousands of small, disciplined actions repeated long after the excitement wore off. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb in a single stroke of genius. He failed more than 1,000 times, and yet, each failure was a step forward. When people called him mad, he simply said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of a giant. That's the mentality of someone who refuses to let reality dictate the size of their dream. Action is what separates wishers from winners. While the average person is waiting for the right time, the thinker of big thoughts is creating the right time. While the crowd complains about not having enough resources, the visionary is learning how to use what little they have. And while the doubters are debating whether something is possible, the doer has already done it. And understand, this action is not glamorous. It's not cinematic. Most of the time, it's hard, lonely, and boring. It's waking up early when nobody is watching. It's practicing in silence while the world celebrates distractions. It's knocking on doors that never open until one does. And it's choosing to keep going when every part of you wants to quit. But the discipline of consistent action creates something powerful inside you, momentum. Momentum is the invisible wind that begins to push you forward once you've done the hard work of starting. It's the reason a tiny push can eventually move a mountain. And once you have momentum, the impossible begins to feel inevitable. Still, action alone is not enough. It must be guided by adaptability, the willingness to adjust, learn, and evolve without abandoning the mission. The road to greatness is never a straight line. It twists, turns, and throws obstacles in your path. The ones who fail are not the ones who fall, they are the ones who refuse to change. Look at Charles Darwin's words, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change." The same is true in the game of success. Thinking big means being flexible in your methods but unshakable in your purpose. It means understanding that failure is feedback, a teacher disguised as defeat. The Wright brothers didn't fly on their first attempt. They crashed, over and over. But each failure taught them something new about balance, aerodynamics, and design. And with every adjustment, they came closer to the sky. That's how all big thinkers operate, not with stubbornness, but with strategic persistence. And here's the secret, the bigger your dream, the more adaptable you must become. Because the world will not hand you your vision wrapped in a neat little package. It will resist you. It will test you. It will demand that you evolve into someone worthy of the dream you seek. So, don't fear the detours. Don't curse the setbacks. They are not signs that you're off track, they are signs that you are becoming. Every challenge is chiseling you into the person your destiny requires you to be. Every rejection is redirecting you toward a better path. Every obstacle is offering you a chance to grow stronger, smarter, and more unstoppable than before. And when you keep moving, with discipline, with adaptability, with unrelenting action, something miraculous happens. The world begins to bend. Doors you thought were locked swing open. Opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to seek you out. People who doubted you begin to follow you. And the life you once dreamed of living? It stops being a dream. It becomes your reality. There is a truth about chasing big dreams that most people never tell you. The bigger the dream, the harder the fight. The higher the mountain, the harsher the climb. The more magnificent the vision, the more relentless the resistance. And that is why resilience is the most powerful trait you will ever develop, because it is resilience that keeps you moving long after the motivation has faded, the plan has failed, and the applause has stopped. When you decide to think bigger than everyone around you, life will test that decision. It will test it with setbacks, with losses, with heartbreak. It will break your plans, shake your confidence, and make you question whether you were foolish to dream so boldly. And in those moments, many will give up. Many will retreat back into the safety of small thinking. But not you. Because you will understand that every obstacle is not a stop sign, it's a test of how badly you truly want it. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before becoming one of the most transformative presidents in history. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years behind bars before walking free and reshaping a nation. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before a boy named Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. What do they all have in common? They refused to break. They refused to surrender their vision, even when the world gave them every reason to. Resilience is not about being unshakable. It's about being unbreakable. It's not about never falling, it's about rising every single time you do. Because the truth is, success doesn't belong to the most talented or the most intelligent, it belongs to the ones who simply refuse to quit. The universe eventually yields to those who will not stop knocking. There will be nights when you feel invisible. Days when everything you've built crumbles before your eyes. Moments when the weight of your dream feels too heavy to carry. But those are not signs of failure, they are the price of greatness. Every empire has its dark nights. Every visionary has their wilderness. Every legend has their breaking point, the difference is, they didn't stay broken. And here's the paradox, the very struggles that make you want to quit are the same ones that are preparing you for the victory ahead. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire forges steel. Storms build stronger roots. And the challenges you face now are sculpting you into the person who can handle the destiny you're asking for. Do not pray for an easy path. Pray for stronger legs. Pray for a resilient heart. Pray for the kind of spirit that refuses to bow no matter how fierce the storm. Because when the dust settles and the doubters disappear, it will not be the smartest or the luckiest who stand victorious, it will be the ones who kept showing up. But resilience is more than endurance. It is also about perspective. Most people see failure as a dead end. Big thinkers see it as a detour, a lesson, a refinement, a redirection towards something greater. Thomas Edison famously said, "I failed my way to success." He understood what few ever do, failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. And this is where gratitude becomes your greatest ally. Gratitude turns setbacks into stepping stones. It transforms pain into purpose. It allows you to look at the worst moments of your journey and say, "Thank you, because this is making me stronger." Gratitude is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's the mindset of a warrior who knows that every scar tells a story and every struggle builds strength. You see, resilience and gratitude together create an unstoppable force. They make you untouchable, because when life cannot break your spirit and cannot steal your joy, it cannot defeat you. The world doesn't know what to do with someone who keeps rising. It doesn't know how to stop someone who smiles in the storm. It cannot destroy a person who turns pain into power. And when you become that person, the one who endures, the one who learns, the one who grows stronger with every blow, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Doors that were once locked begin to open. People who once doubted begin to believe. And the dream that once felt impossibly far away begins to draw nearer with every step you take. Because here's the truth, resilience is not about surviving the journey, it's about mastering it. It's about transforming from the version of you who wanted the dream into the version of you who deserves it. And once you've walked through fire and kept moving, once you've fallen 100 times and stood back up 101, you become unstoppable, not because the road gets easier, but because you get stronger. So when life knocks you down, and it will rise. When doubt creeps in, and it will rise. When the world turns its back, and it will rise anyway. Because the moment you stop rising is the moment your dream dies. And the world needs your dream. It needs your vision. It needs the bigness of your thinking to light the way for those still trapped in smallness. There will come a day, maybe sooner than you think, when the noise around you will fade. The opinions will go silent. The doubts will disappear. And you will stand face to face with the one person who decides how far you go, yourself. And in that moment, you will realize that the dream you once thought was about money, success, or recognition was never about any of those things. It was about who you had to become to achieve it. Because the truth is, thinking bigger than everyone around you is not about proving them wrong, it's about proving yourself right. It's about shedding the version of you that settled, that played small, that doubted their worth. It's about evolving into the version of you who walks with purpose, speaks with conviction, and lives with intention. The dream is not the reward, you are. The empire you build, the legacy you leave, the difference you make, they are all reflections of the giant you became in the process. And that's why you must never shrink yourself to fit the world's expectations. The world doesn't need another average dreamer. It needs a visionary. It needs a builder. It needs someone bold enough to challenge what is and create what could be. Think about it, every major leap humanity has ever made was sparked by someone who refused to think like everyone else. The Wright brothers looked to the sky when everyone else was looking at the ground. Elon Musk looked to Mars when most were still debating fuel prices. Rosa Parks stayed seated when society expected her to stand. Their actions didn't just change their own lives, they shifted the course of history. And now, it's your turn. The world is waiting for your idea, your invention, your story, your solution. It's waiting for the light only you can bring. But it will never see that light if you keep hiding it behind fear and doubt. Stop waiting for permission. Stop asking for approval. Stop shrinking your vision to make others comfortable. They don't have to see what you see, you have to see it. They don't have to believe in your dream, you do. And yes, the road ahead will be lonely. Pioneers always walk alone before the world follows. Yes, it will be uncomfortable. Growth always hurts before it heals. And yes, it will take longer than you expect. Masterpieces always do. But the question is not whether it's easy, the question is whether it's worth it. And if the dream inside you is bigger than the fear around you, then you already know the answer. You see, life is not measured by the breaths you take but by the impact you leave. And impact is the reward of those who dare to think beyond themselves. When you think big, your life stops being about accumulation and starts being about contribution. You stop chasing success and start building significance. You stop existing and start living. Legacy is not built in a single moment. It's built in every choice, the choice to rise when you could stay down, to speak when you could stay silent, to keep going when you could give up. It's built in the way you treat people, the problems you solve, the dreams you refuse to bury. And one day, long after you're gone, people will not remember how much money you made or how many things you owned, they'll remember how you made them feel, what you created, and how boldly you lived. So, think bigger. Not for the applause. Not for the headlines. But for the story your life will tell when it's all said and done. Think bigger because the future is shaped by those who dare to believe they can shape it. Think bigger because mediocrity serves no one, not your family, not your community, not the generations that come after you. And when the world says be realistic, let your actions scream, I was not born for average. When they say you're dreaming too big, let your results whisper, watch me. And when they say it's impossible, smile and remember, impossible is the word history uses to describe what hasn't been done yet. Because in the end, the difference between the people who watch history and the people who make it is not talent, luck, or circumstance. It's vision. It's courage. It's the refusal to let the size of their surroundings dictate the size of their dreams. So go. Step into the unknown. Chase the vision that keeps you awake at night. Build something so bold it scares you. Live a life so big that others question their own limits just by watching you. And when your time comes, when your story is told, let them say that you were the one who dreamed without permission, who dared without apology, and who lived without limits. Let them say that you were the one who thought bigger than everyone around you, and because of it, changed everything.